Okay, guys, thank you for showing up here to our pre-Phase 3 Glory meeting. Um, so, essentially, what we want to cover tonight is just to get everybody on the same page with the upcoming content patch. There is a lot that we are going to, you know, have to progress through, and what we want to make sure we do is really hit the ground running from a position of strength. So, just a little recap of kind of what we've accomplished here so far. I think this iteration of the guild here on TBC Classic has been, I would wager, our best iteration of it. Phase one, everybody kicked ass. Again, we hit the ground running. We had a very hot first night, TBC. It was fun doing 2 or 3 Karazhan groups a week. I think we one-shot High King and Gruul damn near. And if you guys remember, we had probably the scrappiest boss kill I've ever seen with our first mag attempt, our first mag night. We have a thing about last pulls of the evening. Um, and what we ended up doing was really hitting phase two strong. Uh, First night in SSC, we had 4 bosses, 4 1-shots. Second lockout, we were able to get a Vosh kill well before most guilds on this server. I think we were in I think it was like the top 15 or top 16 or something like that.
Top 8.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really goes to show, that's one of the hardest fights in this whole expansion, and we came in here and we got it done. But kind of to contrast that, we did have quite the slump for a variety of reasons. Roster boss, like a lot of people were experiencing at the time. KT took us a while. We probably could have downed him if we were using those mechanics appropriately and executing well enough a few weeks earlier. And what we did was have a meeting very similar to this one. We all got together. We all got on the same page. We all set the expectation. We got some new bodies in here. Shouts out Phase 2 new people. And we got the job done. And ever since then, these raids have been smooth as can be. They've been fun. I think Tuesday was one of the most fun raids we've had in a long time. And I also like that in Phase 2.5. We, even with the nerfs and for as annoying as they were, we still set the bar higher for ourselves. And we did not show any regression. We got in there and we accomplished the goal we had set with the nerfs, which is knocking out all of Tier 5 in a fucking Gruul within one raid night. I think it was 3 hours and 5 minutes. So, nerfs or not, that's a real testament to all the individual execution and focus of this raid group to get. It's still, easier or not. That's a lot of content to tear through in 3 hours. So, for the rest of this phase, we're going to keep tearing it up. We're going to keep improving and really put an emphasis on knocking out this trash as well as we can, because there's going to be a whole heck of a lot of it in phase 3. So what I want to kind of run down real quickly is a couple of the individual responsibilities when it comes to preparation for the phase. This will be the last time I harp on 2 of these. So PvP trinkets, got to have them. 4,000 honor, get it done. If you don't have it, you're not coming to Hyjal. Hyjal attunement. I believe, based on the last poll, I think Lana was the last person who needed it, and he got it taken care of. So good job, guys, getting that knocked out. If you still need to complete it or have any trouble with the chain quest, let us know. We'll make sure you're taken care of. And that's the last time I'll bother you about those 2. Also, you guys may have seen a couple posts in clips and shit. We have been taking a look at some people's consumable stashes. Honestly, it is going to be very good for you to take care of that sooner rather than later. Prices have come down for a lot of things, even gems if you want to stash some of those. But I would expect the right thing to do would be to prepare for a month's worth of raiding where there will probably be plenty of wipes. We're going to be making a big shift here from easy peasy 3-hour a week raiding to back to progression mode. So think ahead, plan out what you need, start stockpiling it now, or else you're going to be paying, high demand prices as soon as this content drops. And what else we got? And just on the note of the progression mindset, I know we've been pretty locked in and we've been executing really well. I'm glad that we haven't just let ourselves just lazily raid recently. I like that we keep pushing it. I like that we added some new strategies, and I like that we're just still gassing. And that's the mentality we need to keep. The challenges are going to be steeper, but we've done the right thing in not getting lazy with all of this, and that's something we need to maintain. And going in for, that's going to be your preparation. And the other things that are vital to this phase coming up, it's going to be preparation, planning, and execution. Now, the planning, we are starting off on a really, really strong foot here. I think much better than we did with phase two. Not that we needed as much, but for a lot of people, this is going to be their first times really hitting Black Temple or Hyjal or both. We have some people that have done this plenty of times before, but I don't know, just me personally, haven't done anything at Black Temple. So it's not just digging through my head for old knowledge. This is going to be a lot of new stuff for me. So, on that note, big shout outs to both Beats and Chris, who have put many, many hours of excellent work into making our guild specific strategy guides for both raids. If you guys haven't taken a look at them yet, they're in announcements. We might make a little guides channel just to keep them so you don't have to scroll around too much. But for Hyjal and Black Temple, there'll be YouTube videos explaining our strategies and all the information you need for both the trash and every single boss. I believe for Chris has also put together a sort of quick reference text document for everything in Black Temple as well. So there's a lot of material to digest there, especially a lot of material to commit to memory. So I would highly recommend starting much sooner than later on really getting an understanding of what we're going up against. None of these fights coming up, maybe some of them, Vashj and KT pre-nerf are some of the hardest fights in this expansion. We are fully capable of knocking out the vast majority of this content without struggling too much. The only reason we're going to struggle is if we don't execute, we're not prepared, and we're not following the plan. So, we do also have a couple goals for Phase 3, kind of within the first 4 weeks. And we talked about it a lot today, but essentially, week 1, we will be focusing on Hyjal. So, this also brings us to a little bit of a goofy situation, but one I'm going to forewarn you guys about now. So, in order to be attuned for Black Temple, you need to kill Rage, Winterchill, and Hyjal. That means that we can only attune 25 people for Black Temple in our first raid lockout. So, once we get a release date for Phase 3, we are going to ask you all for just your attendance availability. If you're not able to make both raid nights that first week, you're likely not going to be on that first roster. We may have to make, we can only do 25 people, so we're going to work with everybody. We're going to figure it out. We're going to go in there with what we think is going to be successful. We're going to, cross that bridge as we get to it. But just know, week 1, we can only get 25 people attuned. So, like I said, first week, focusing Hyjal. Second week, we are going to, again, hit Hyjal to finish off whoever did not get attuned in the first week, and then puts a lot more emphasis on Black Temple. What we should be able to achieve in Hyjal pretty quickly is the first 4 bosses. Archimonde is definitely going to be a step up in difficulty. There's a fair amount of RNG. It's there's mechanics to learn there, and not just reading it or watching a video. We have to get comfortable executing it. So, first 4 bosses is the expectation in Hyjal. Week 1. Now, going into week 2, BT will be the emphasis. There's a lot of trash in there. Good point, Beats. Day 1 Hyjal, we're going to be taking care of those bosses. BT, I'll let Chris speak a little more on this, but there's going to be a big emphasis on executing trash and moving as quickly as possible. There's a lot of bosses, means there's a lot of fucking trash. And they're all different for each boss, again, detailed by Chris. So, and then, help me out, guys. I'm blanking. Week 3. Was our goal to be on Archimonde and Illidan week 3?
The original goal was if we want to finish through Asgore day 1 of Hyjal, which I think is totally possible, and then get Archimonde attempts in that second day. And if we can get that going, it's totally possible for us to get Archimonde down and maybe a few bosses in BT that first week.
Yes. Thank you.
Week two is getting the remaining people attuned that need it off of Rage, and then going directly into Hyjal or into Black Temple.
Yeah, and then week 3 would be, well, it kind of depends on how hard we push on week 2. It is totally possible for us to kill Illidan by week 2 with the group we have. I don't doubt it for a second that we can't do it, but that also requires us to go in and basically 1-shot or 2-shot every single boss. So likely week 3 will be our push for Illidan. So then we're considering the flex that week if you want to get into that curve.
Yes, weeks 2 and 3, there is a strong possibility for us to flex a third raid night. That's not something we ask of everybody often, but just for the sake of progression, for getting this knocked out as we need to, we'll let you guys know, of course, plenty ahead of time. But there is a possibility for that week 2, week 3, like a flex Sunday raid or something. And I think that's all I wanted to blabber about. If we want to go over to Beats, if you just want to talk a little bit about your Hydro guide and just some key points there, go right ahead.
Yeah, great. Guys, thanks for coming. I'll try to keep it short for this one so we can break off and do whatever you want with your Thursday. So if you take a look over in announcements, I'll do an at Glory right here. I just posted the Hydro boss guides minus Archimonde. I'm still working on the Archimonde video, but you'll be able to see in this playlist. You'll be able to see the strategy guides for all 4 bosses through Asgalore. That's specifically tailored to our guild, and also 2 videos for Trash as well. One for the Trash waves before the first 2 bosses, and one for the Trash waves before the 3rd and 4th bosses. It's got a lot of information in there about just general overall boss stuff, abilities and strategies, but also then very specific strategies toward the players that we have in our guild. So take a look at it. The first few ones are decently short. Then it goes pretty long for that second Trash video. And also the Asgalore strategy one is almost 30 minutes long. So take a look at it, skip through some stuff if you think it's not super pertinent to your class or whatever. But just make sure you give them a watch when you're at the gym, break time at work, anytime. Please know that we do want you to be fairly familiar with all of this stuff. Like we were saying, week 1, day 1, we want to have 4 bosses dead in Mount Hyjal. So that's everything through Asgalore up to Archimonde. After that, we'll decide exactly how hard we want to push on Archimonde, or if we want to switch over to Black Temple first. But week 1, day 1, for me and our guild's focus, which should always be on that first day, is to get those 4 bosses dead. That'll be really nice, especially to get some tier 6 tokens.
You're going robot beats.
Keep chatting a little bit.
You want me to switch to Singapore?
We can hop over to Chris and Black Temple in the meantime if we'd like.
Sure. Yeah, so just kind of going off of what Beats is saying there, we really want everyone to come in focused and understanding all the fights. So that's why we did all these guides. We don't want to be spending a bunch of time in front of the bosses explaining how they work before we actually pull. Everyone should have an idea of how to do the fights before we actually get there. So we put a lot of time into these guides and videos and stuff. So really just give Beats' stuff a look through. My stuff, I'm definitely more of a long-winded talker, and I kind of ramble. I don't have as good of a strategy as Beats does yet in video making. So I don't really expect everyone to watch, all of my videos, but I do expect every single person to read and understand everything that I have written down in that Google Doc and that Google Doc presentation. They're not that long, and I highlight the important things with pretty colors. So if you understand all the pretty colors, then you're totally fine. Just go and understand kill order, understand how the bosses work, what strategies we're going to use, where to be standing on certain bosses. Go in with the strategy for yourself, understand how, try to internalize and understand what you think the bosses are going to look like. And if Jeter's, if you're colorblind, then good luck. I don't know. But yeah, so we really do expect everyone to go in with an understanding of the bosses and how they work before we get there. The 30-second refresher before the boss shouldn't be the first time you're hearing how this boss works. You should already know how the boss works day one.
Mm-hmm.
Colorblind.
Check. How about this?
Yeah,
You sound
feature
beautiful.
Okay, great. It's okay. I just want a few more things.
Yep.
Outside of the videos, there is a lot of prep that we need to be doing, getting ready for stuff like this to make it as smooth as possible. Like Kirkin was saying, some people have been posting their stash, their tier 6 stash. It's really important to get a tier 6 stash ready. Some things that I would say that are important for Hyjal is Dark Runes. If you're a caster, it's going to be really important for everybody to have Dark or Demonic Runes, especially for the third boss in there. Super key. If you are an engineer and you have the arcane bomb recipe, please let me know. Or if you have eyes on an arcane bomb recipe, please let me know. We need to get some of those made.
I'm pretty sure I have that recipe on my alt.
Excellent. Check it out. Let me know. I'll get you some mats. This is going a little bit into Black Temple as well, which is Chris's area, but we are farming resist sets, which of course means shadow resistance for the raid, but also fire resistance for the tanks. What this means is we want to make sure that we are getting everything possible that we can do to do that. Hopefully what we're going to be doing here over the next week or so is gathering as many Ethereum prison keys as possible. That way we can make an opening party of all the stuff up in Netherstorm. The reason for this is because they do drop blue quality cloaks, bracers, and rings that very often proc into of something resistance. And they are very good. They're much better than normal, like of shadow resistance, let's say, where it's just like stamina and then shadow resistance, because they are designed for specific classes. So like a blue quality ring, for example, that would proc off those would have stamina, spell power, and shadow resistance. So we want to get a bunch of keys together. Hopefully everybody can participate in the keys. And then we want to have an opening party. Those items are BOP, so it's all just luck and whoever's in the group and all that kind of stuff. However, what's not luck is they do often drop a ton of greens as well, which means we're just going to be having a disenchant party as well. Because not only will we need to be providing guild bank mats to everybody for basically all the tier 6 loot that drops, we're also going to need to double dip on enchanting mats because we need to enchant all of our shadow resistance gear as well. So we're going to need a ton of Arcane Bomb. I did say Arcane Bomb, yes. Do you have it? Nice. Okay, great. Sick. That's that covered. Excellent. So we're going to need a ton of enchanting mats because we have to enchant 2 sets of gear here. So if you can at all possible, grab some Ethereum prison keys, farm them every once in a while. If we get everybody in our group here to get like 20 keys or something, that's going to be a ton of mats and a really high RNG on us getting a good resist piece. So that's going to be sick. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say, other than come prepared, come ready, and we're going to get them. Yeah, Billy already started. What's up?
On the resist kit, you said we were going to be enchanting all of it. Do you want us to throw like resistant enchants? Are you talking like agility and like stats on there?
No, we're talking DPS enchants.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure.
Like, for example, we're going to be crafting like 40 shadow resistance cloaks for a lot of people in the raid. Yeah, we got to put all cloak enchants on that, either subtlety or 12 agility or.
Well, I think the cloak specifically, we're going to do the shadow resistance one because it's just so good.
Oh yeah, shadow resistance.
But
Yeah,
everything
and
else we can do.
tanks won't be wearing shadow resist here, so threat won't be an issue for like subtlety.
Yeah, bracers as well though, so we'll need to get a bunch of bracers and chants. Also, one last thing before I give it up, we do have a very big stockpile of shadow resistance greens in the guild bank. So while you're trying to get prepared, we definitely, officers should get together and start doling that stuff out to people who want it, because we've probably got like 25 to 30 pieces. So if you're in need of a piece and you're like, yo, got anything? We got you. Maybe we got a ton of stuff. So we'll see. All right, that's it for me.
Excellent. Chris, did you have anything you wanted to wrap up with Black Temple?
I've got a couple things. I mean, the
Yep.
Shadow Resistance was one of mine. If everyone, I hope everyone has already read, but if you haven't read, the number we are shooting for is 200 to 230 Shadow Resistance. It's kind of a big range, but kind of play it by what you think your class is. If you're a class with low mobility, go more towards the 230 range of Shadow Resistance. If you're a healer, you can even go further than 230. If you're a class with a lot of mobility, then you can go a little less, but 200 is the minimum we want everyone to be at unbuffed just to make the fight easy. I've said before that is one of those fights that 90% of the fight is done in the auction house. The fight itself is easy peasy past that, so everyone needs to get the Shadow Resist. If you need help or are confused on anything about the Shadow Resist, talk to any of the officers like Beats and everyone has said. We have a bunch in the bank from what we've been gathering, or people have graciously donated. So let us know, and we'll start giving you what we can to try to help you out. Aside from that, the only things I wanted to say about Black Temple before we get in there is if you're not going to watch any of my videos, the one that you need to watch is the Illidari Council video. Illidari Council is going to be one of those fights that just has a bunch of chaotic, hectic stuff going on. It's a council fight. The poll is very specific, and where things stand is very specific, and interrupt rotation and everything. Everyone needs to watch that video and understand it. It's not enough to just kind of read that stuff, because that is probably one of the hardest bosses in all of T6. As well as the Terran Gorefiend video and the Terran Gorefiend minigame, which I'll post in announcements as well. Every single person in this raid needs to play the minigame and needs to understand how to do it. Everyone. There's no excuse. I don't want to hear anything of people saying my add-ons didn't work, because the minigame lets you practice by clicking all the abilities. It's very much not difficult. I go through it in the video if you need an explanation or need to see it being done. But the minigame is super simple, uses everything you would have in WoW anyway. Just make sure that if you have a add-on manager, that you understand where your pet bar is, because on the PTR, everything shows up on the pet bar. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go watch the video and play the minigame. Everyone play the minigame, and once you can do it, 2 times in a row successfully, you're all good. It takes like 2 or 3 minutes to do. And other than that, just make sure that when we step into Black Temple, make sure we prioritize safe play over everything else. As Kirkin said earlier, everything in Vosh and everything after Vosh and KT is honestly a step down in difficulty, but it's a step up in just total quality and total quantity of content. So we're not going to be running into enrage issues on any of these bosses. DPS don't need to pump as hard to kill bosses, but there's a whole lot more mechanics that everyone needs to know and everyone needs to pay attention to. So when we first get in there, just focus on not standing in shit and pressing your buttons, and stuff will fall down. That's basically all I got.
Cool. Caper, I believe you wanted to mention sort of BIS-less upgrades, personal sets, things like that.
Yeah, so just talk about loot real quick. We're going to ask you guys to go back into That's My BIS and upgrade with your BIS items that you're looking for.
Steve will provide a little more detail with that after you, but go right ahead. Sorry.
Is Steve still here?
Yes.
Sorry, Steve. But I really want to say is, first of all, know the difference between your BIS and an upgrade. There's a lot of people just selecting BIS when items would come out, and it's like, that's really an upgrade. So just think about that. Also, everyone's been really great about not being a loot whore. We appreciate that. The people that were loot whores are pretty much gone. We appreciate that as well. But I just want to reiterate, if you ever have a problem with loot, don't be afraid to reach out to people. We've talked to a couple people about loot. It's no big deal, but just be cool about it. We'll happily talk to you about it and figure it out. And also, we're human on the Loot Council, and we make mistakes sometimes, or we forget about certain things, so we're happy to talk about it.
Yeah. We put a lot of consideration into each piece, and we try not to make bad decisions. And so, or spiteful decisions, or anything like the horrible Loot Councils you hear about do. So, again, just to reiterate, any problems, come to us. Just ask, calm question. We'll help you figure it out.
And also, just to say, we aim to gear the raid, not the individual. That's our big thing, and I think we've been pretty successful about that. I'm pretty biased on that, but I think we've done a good job.
I'm looking at a lot of really nice gear right now, man. Everybody
Hell
here.
yeah. So just keep that in mind, and that's all I got to say. Oh, and that Jake is trash. Thank you.
Oh, yes, key point. Awesome. Steve, did you want to just briefly go over the That's My Biz stuff you had mentioned to me?
Can you hear me okay?
Enough, yeah.
Here, I'll flip it to my...
Are you driving?
Oh, that's much better. However, you just did that.
Okay.
So
It's I just flipped it off my Bluetooth, so
go right ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to tell everybody, so I'll be rolling out the That's My Biz add-on, and I'll have all the officers do so in according. That's basically going to just, it's honestly very transparent, just makes a lot of sense for what we want to do with wish lists. It's going to make everybody's wish list visible to us at the time in game of loot. So it's very straightforward, but I don't want people to build wish lists right this moment. So if you're doing that, just hold off. I will actually change the wish list to basically a refresh, so that we're going to save the tier 5. Tier 5 is going to be separate, and then I'll provide a fresh bis list that you'll actually populate. I'll be home in a matter of about 20 to 30 minutes, so not a big deal. But once that happens, then everybody go in there, throw up your bis list, so that we have it, and that way in game we'll be able to tell exactly what everybody wants or expects for a bis list right at the moment we're looting. Lately we've been having to actually do so, through the web browser and stuff, which is not a big deal, but it still does take additional time and effort. So it's like, this way we actually see stuff right then and there in game. So also I did want to say that for our considerations for loot, I know we've actually had multiple people that have voiced issues with loot, and I want to be very, very forward with the fact that I want people, if you ever have issues with loot, like Caper had mentioned, please do approach somebody about that. That's not a problem. We've had probably at least half the guild at one point or another talk to us, and we'll give a straight up, this is a straight up answer of why this piece went to somebody, and I'm not afraid to give an explanation, but we're happy to accommodate an answer, so please don't be afraid to ask. Okay, that's pretty much it for me.
Cool. And then I think lastly, Gerald, did you want to add something?
I just want to kind of go over, we've got a lot of strategy videos up and everything else, and contrary to Chris, watch it all. We have plenty of time. The time has been put in to make this happen, and the one thing that I will emphasize on tier 6 over tier 5, nothing is as hard as Vash and KT. I'll agree with that, but there is a lot more personal responsibility. There are fights like Blood Boil, where if you die from doing something stupid, that completely changes a lot of things, which you will see when you watch the video. If you can't kill constructs, you kill the raid. There is a lot of individual personal responsibility on this, so it is up to each and every one of you to know what you need to do in each fight. That's the big difference. None of it is overall more difficult. It's just the fact that, you know, if you were the one person that kind of knew what was going on and just hit your buttons, you know, while scrolling on your phone with something, I don't know what you guys do. But if you're that person, don't be that person in this tier. It's easy. It's a fall over if we all do our part. But if one of us doesn't do our part, we're all going to feel it. There is no enrage timers, which I think was already referenced before. You know, Vash P3 where we had to gas, or the Kale ads where we had to gas. There's nothing like that here. There really isn't. It's perform your job well, execute your job well, and that ties into everything else that everybody else has said tonight. Get your consumables ready. Let us know what BIS is for you. You know, we kind of have an idea of what we want you to do, but I understand some people like to play a different style, and that's okay. But that's where That's My BIS comes in. One other thing that I didn't see get mentioned, but if it did, I apologize. So for repeating. Oh my God, now I lost it. I need to look at the list again. Please hold.
What did we forget?
Hold music.
I can't handle that pressure, Kirk, knock it off.
Come on, Gerald, you piece of shit.
Alright, also, again, nobody has really had a problem with this. This goes into looting, but understand that we gear the raid team, not necessarily an individual.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that, you know, if you seem to be getting shied away, you know, being a warlock in this phase sucked. Being a mage in this phase was amazing. That completely reverses next phase. It's nothing personal. It's just us trying to gear the raid appropriately to get more and more loot long term.
Yep.
But other than that, great job so far, guys. Like I said, you know, the roster boss was tough. The slump was tough. We broke out of it. We got stuff done. The preparation is there. Do your part. And, you know your part in each fight. And personally, I got 32.1 seconds on the Terran Gorfine game. Try to beat me.
All right, good. That's the par, guys. All right, well, I think that is it. We have blabbered on for long enough here, so thank you, guys. It's important that we just get these talks out of the way so that we're all on the same page. You know, we're here to have fun. We're here to kill bosses. We're here to loot Professor Plums, but we're not here to bullshit. We're not here to waste each other's time. So as long as, you know, just like any raid we do, just like anything in this game and this whole guild in general, you do your part, come prepared, execute the plan, and we're going to have a fucking great time doing it. So we will look forward to a Phase 3 release date, whenever that may fucking be, and we might get another Blizzard controversy before we get that fucking date, but who knows? So again, appreciate you all. You've all done a kick-ass job. I love you deeply. And yeah, I think that's going to conclude it for tonight. Thank you, guys.
You forgot the last thing, Karkin.
What was that?
We got one order of business before everybody goes away.
Whoa.
Did a fuck Jake chance?
Fuck
Ooh,
Jake.
that's a
Fuck
good idea,
Jake.
Daggers.
Don't do it.
What is it? I'm forgetting now.
Are you reading opposite
Oh,
chat?
no, I'm not. I turned it off because I'm recording. Oh, yeah, now I remember. Cool. Also, we got a couple promotions to hand out, guys. So, you know, in this guild, rank only really matters so much, but what this sort of core designation means to us and everybody here is that you've put in the time, you fit the vibe here, you're not an asshole or a fucking drag on the raid, and really you've put in the time. You're not somebody who comes in, takes a bunch of gear, and leaves 3 weeks later, and we very much appreciate that. That means a lot to everyone here. So, Gooey, Daggers, Faye, we love you. You've done good work. We appreciate you sticking around here, and we hope you stick around for the rest of it. It's hard to leave. The only way to leave glory is in a box, all right? So, good job. Appreciate y'all. Congratulations.
Yeah.
All righty. That concludes it. Get out of my tower.
Oh, right.
It's my tower now.
Congrats, everybody.